Cali.
Hi, I'm Neil. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
What's your name?
Melissa.
You look like somebody I know.
Really?
Yeah. Can I see your finger? Yeah, you definitely look like somebody I know.
Your wife. Hi everyone, I am Melissa, the owner of Cali Meets NYC, and we're a home fragrance business based out of Lake Worth, Florida. If you did not know, this is my husband Neil. He's the New York City to my Cali.
Yep, I was just about to say that. I do have one question though.
Yes.
Before we start.
Uh-huh.
Is that your man on the screen?
Yes.
You sure? You gonna stick beside him?
I can't. Today is actually his birthday.
Yep.
He is a Leo.
That's right. Shout out Leo Nation. Love for Sagittarius, but Leo Nation.
Okay. So we, just want to pop on screen and to give you a little bit of like how our love story is. So maybe.
Oh, I'm sorry?
Yeah.
Okay, so for those of you who don't know me, I was in the Army from 2008 to 2014. So I'm an Army veteran. I got one deployment to Iraq in 2011. I ended up getting out the Army in 2014. I wanted to make it a career, but the problem is at that time, there was something called reduction in the force, which basically means that the military was downsizing. So they didn't have the budget to keep certain soldiers of certain ranks or certain time in service in the military. So unfortunately, I was one of the soldiers because I didn't have enough time in service or I wasn't at a certain rank. I mean, I was only 6 years in, so I couldn't be a high rank at the time anyway. I was one of those that had to go. And then they told me, oh, a year from now, you can come back. But in my head, I'm like, if I'm leaving, what makes you think I'm going to come back a year from now? Like, I'm going to try to do something else with my life. So boom, you could tell I'm from New York, right? The boom part, right? So I was stationed in Fort Campbell, Kentucky. I got out the Army June 24, 2024. No, sorry, 2024. June 24th, 2014. I came back to New York July 2014. I still had some of my friends in New York. I made new friends along the way. And one of the new friends I made along the way was my homegirl, Nia. Shout out to Nia. So how Melissa and I met was through Nia. So at that time, Melissa was living in California. And of course, I'm in New York City and Nia's in New York at the time. So we were talking and she messaged me one day. She's like, hey friend, I got a question. I said, yeah, what's up? She's like, you still single? I'm like, yeah, why? She's like, oh, I got a friend you might be interested in. I was like, okay, does your friend have a picture? Like, what's her name? And she's like, yeah, I'll send it to you. Oh, I went ahead and I sent her your picture. So I'm like, you sent her my picture? So now I'm over here and I'm like, yo, what picture did this girl send? Like, was it like a decent picture or was it like me in a club with like I don't drink anymore, I don't smoke no more, nothing like that. I live a healthy life right now. But I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, is it an appropriate picture, like for a good first impression? And my suspicious was, it was right. It was a picture of me in a club holding a bottle. And that picture was from, I want to say 2012. I was at a club with my people and I threw up a bottle. Everywhere I go, you always see the New York hat. And that's the picture she sent. So when she sent that picture, I was like, yo, why you send a girl that picture? Like, you couldn't send a picture of me like in my uniform, a regular picture of me like kicking and smiling like you had this of all pictures. Because the thing is, I didn't know Melissa, I didn't talk to her at that time. So I didn't want her to be like, oh, I don't know if, I want to get to know this guy. So in any event, Nia sends me her picture and the first thing I say is like, wow, she's pretty. And then I zoomed in and I saw her eyes. I was like, are those her real eyes? Like, is she mixed? Like, black and white, black and Spanish? And she's like, no, she's full black. And she told me that she was from upstate Syracuse, New York, but her parents are from New York City. So she said her mom is from the Bronx and her pops is from Harlem. So me personally from New York, I'm from Queens. Sidebar, Queens get the money. But when she told me her parents were from New York City, I was like, oh, they probably don't play about their daughter. I mean, not just you being from New York, you're not gonna play about your kid. Just any parent in general. No parent's gonna play about their daughter. So I reached out to Melissa. We talked, and in the back of my mind, I forgot that in California there's a time difference. So y'all are 3 hours behind, right?
Yeah.
So when I'm talking to her, thinking it's like my time and stuff like that. And she's like, hey, can I call you later? I'm at work or I'm such and such. And then I realized, I'm like, oh, that's right. They're 3 hours behind. So we used to talk on the phone, a lot. And I'm not really one to talk a lot on the phone. Like, you can, what? No, okay, like.
Out of the two of us.
Yeah, okay. Like, I'm the type of person, like, if I genuinely know you, like if we're friends and like, we cool, we grew up together and like we have that type of like repertoire with each other, of course, I'm gonna kick it with you on the phone, we're gonna talk, we're gonna BS and all that stuff. But for somebody who I never met, who I just started talking to, like I was just like, I was just a text type of person. But then the text turned to late night conversations, phone calls. I remember I was on the phone with her and I guess you had like the window made a sound, like a creaking sound.
Yeah.
So as we're talking, right, like I could hear like the window going up and down. So I'm like, hey love, is that your window? She's like, yeah. And I was like, Compton windows be like. And the funny thing is, she wasn't even living in Compton.
I was nowhere near Compton. I was in El Cerrito. So El Cerrito is kind of by Richmond. It's right outside of Richmond.
Yeah, Cali is huge. I've actually been to Cali. I've actually myself have been to Compton when I was, I think I told you so I was like 15, 16, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've been to LA before and I've been to Compton. And I gotta say one thing, the culture out there is like they have their own set of rules and regulations than we do over here on the East Coast. And I respect it at the end of the day. But I was wondering when I was out there at 15 and 16 with a New York hat on, like I'm getting all these funny looks. But they take it to heart. Like you really gotta watch what you wear, how you talk, how you carry yourself in Cali. Like it's no joke out there. Shout out to Cali, of course. Shout out to New York. But I got love for everywhere. And I always tell people, just because I'm from New York, I don't think we're better than anybody. You can go anywhere in the world. There's always gonna be a dangerous neighborhood. There's always gonna be a ghetto. There's always gonna be real. There's always gonna be fake.
Mm-hmm.
I never downplay nowhere. And me being in the Army, I've been to states I didn't think I would ever go to like as a civilian. So I've been to states like dangerous places I've been to was New Orleans, Louisiana. I've been to Little Rock, Arkansas. I've been to it's a couple more, and even in the military, like overseas, I've been to Germany. Like everywhere. At the end of the day, like everywhere, you have your good and your bad.
Exactly. So, from my perspective, how we met when Nia had reached out to me, first off, let me just give it a little backstory how I know Nia. So Nia and we used to work at a bridal store. So we worked at David's Bridal together in 2012. This was right before I moved to California. I knew of her family, I knew a lot of her siblings, but I never really knew her until we started working together in 2012. And we became tight like this quickly. So right before I moved, there was like a celebration, did all the things, and Nia had eventually moved from Syracuse to New Jersey, and she was working in New York. I think she was working at the time in Brooklyn in David's Bridal. So that's how we met. And then she had messaged me about Neil like 2 years after I had moved out to Cali. Well, no, 3 years after I had moved out to Cali. And so, she was like, I think, there's this guy that I think you guys would hit it off with. And I was like, okay, what's his name? She was like, Neil, he's an Army veteran. And I was like, oh, okay. And I'm like, okay, can you give him my number? What does he look like? All of the things. So she said that he's really funny and that, he's really down to earth and he's super, he's super nice. And I'm like, okay. So she said, I can't promise anything.
No, keep going with the compliments. I like it.
She said, I can't promise anything. I can't promise that you're going to be in a relationship with him. Because let me tell you.
I didn't know that part of the story.
Yeah, she's like, I can't promise anything because.
Oh, no. That's funny.
I can't promise anything because, I'm not sure. So I was like, okay, I'm interested in meeting new people. Right. I was looking to move back from California to New York anyway. That was like the next place I wanted to move to because I was just, me trying to find a job in the Bay Area at that time was difficult. And I thought at that time I was in fashion. So I was doing fashion journalism, and so I really wanted to have a fashion journalism career. So I had, did some freelance writing for a couple of magazines out in Cali, and then I wanted to, really move my career forward in fashion journalism. So I thought there was more opportunity, obviously, in New York, and then housing was cheaper. I know it sounds weird. Housing was cheaper in New York than it was in the Bay Area because by the time I had left Oakland, I was living in Oakland for 2 years. By the time I left Oakland, a 1-bedroom apartment that I was living in, that rent skyrocketed to $2,400. And I said, oh, yeah. I said, oh, no. And I was sharing that 1-bedroom apartment with another person. So we were splitting that.
I hope they were sharing that rent too.
Oh yeah. Sharing the rent.
Hey, Melissa, you just pay and we just gonna live here.
Oh no. Oh no. So anyway, so she was like, I can't promise anything. So Neil and I started talking. He told me that he wasn't looking for a relationship, and so I was like, okay. Yeah. I was like, I didn't know how I felt about that at first, and then I started to really fall for him, and we were still just friends. We were still just chatting. At that point, we had met in person once. Yeah, we had met in person once, so we started talking in what? Was it around your birthday?
It was probably like early August. Early August.
Okay, so it was right after your birthday.
And now that you mentioned that, the one time we were supposed to meet prior to that, your uncle passed away.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. So, one thing about me, like, I'm not an asshole. I'm a very understanding person. Mm-hmm. Like, she told me she couldn't meet me because her uncle passed away, R.I.P. to your uncle. Mm-hmm. And I was totally understanding. It's not like a person gives you an excuse and it's like, nah, can we meet some other time? Or, I'm not feeling well, or I got plans. Like, not something that'll make you think like, does this person really want to like meet me? So when she told me her uncle passed, I sent my condolences, and that's her mother's brother.
No. That's my dad's brother.
Oh, sorry.
My Uncle Mike.
Yeah, pardon me. It was her dad's brother. The reason I brought up the parent part is because at that time I didn't meet her parents. I didn't know her parents. I never spoke to her parents. Mm-hmm. So that's why I brought up the whole, I thought it was the her mother's brother, but it was her father's brother. So yeah, R.I.P. to him.
So yeah, we were supposed to meet early September of 2015. And then we ended up meeting because my uncle had passed away. I ended up staying in Syracuse for a little bit longer. And then he ends up going to a wedding.
Rosie, what's up? That's my cousin.
His cousin's wedding in Florida. And that was around the time my uncle had passed away.
That was, I can't remember the exact date, but it was September 2015.
It was September 2015. Yeah. So then I made my way to New York City, met up with some old friends, met up with Nia because she was still living there at that time. Now she's in Cali, so we switched coasts. And then Neil and I had met in person. And so I remember it was so interesting because I felt like I knew him the moment I saw him. And it was so weird because we only chatted on the phone. And I felt like it was instant chemistry.
Yeah, I could definitely say the same thing. And I'm glad you mentioned the chemistry part because I'm going to get to something in a second. Go ahead. No, it's not bad. It's not bad at all.
Okay.
Nah, I ain't playing. Go ahead.
Yeah, we were instantly compatible. Instantly. So we
chatted.
We chatted for a while. And, you know, my phone was... So, first off, I was nervous to meet Neil. So, Nia had came with me, and so she was walking around Times Square. We met in the middle of Times Square. And so, she was walking around, I don't know exactly. Oh, no. She was meeting me after work, after she got off of work in Brooklyn. She was meeting me in Times Square, and then we were going to go back to the place I was staying in. And so, she was meeting me. My phone was about to die. So in order for it to, you know, preserve the battery, I put it on Do Not Disturb. Oh no, I put it on airplane mode so it wouldn't, so, you know, nothing would happen to the battery. So I was like, okay. And she had been calling my phone forever. And Neil and I, we just, you know, stars in the eyes, everything.
We was just talking like the whole time. Like,
everything.
You know what I mean? And like sometimes when you get caught up in a conversation, it's like everything around you is blank. You know what I mean? Like I mean, you know where you are, but like you're not paying attention to your phone, to what's going on around you. Like you're actually enjoying the moment, you know, with that person. So.
And we had halal food.
Yeah.
And the halal cart, so very, very good.
So, speaking of that, you know, not all cards, you know, are gonna be the same because I've had experiences where I was just like, oh, nah, this ain't it, yo, this ain't it.
But that was really good.
Yeah, shout out to the halal cart. If you're from Queens, Rockaway and Lefferts by I think it's Walgreens, the halal cart right there. I used to go to that spot a lot.
That specific one.
Yeah, because I used to live out there.
That's true.
So there was a spot in the city. And like I can't remember what street, and I'm not even gonna lie and try to make up something, but like there's a specific one. It has a lot of good reviews, but I just can't remember the name, or I can't remember exactly where it is. But I remember I saw a video one day and I showed it to Melissa. This is years ago, and the line just wrapped around the whole block. That's how good it was. And I've been there before. Like, I mean, not when it was busy like that, but the food was really good.
So after we met and we started talking like a lot more, and I started to really fall for Neil. And I was like, oh, I know he said he just want to be friends, but I was like, I want more. Like, I can't just be friends with him, because to me, when you are just friends with someone that you truly, truly like, it's like this pain. You know, it's this pain, you know?
I like that.
It feels very painful.
Not I like the pain. Not that. Not that I like that you're going through the pain part, but I'm saying like I like what you're saying. Like it makes you think. I'm like, yeah, that's deep.
Yeah, because it's painful if you know you're like, oh, like you
really want to be with somebody, but the thing is like, is it feeling mutual?
Yeah, it's like I don't know if the feeling is mutual. So you know, I asked him because I'm forthright, and I said, you know what? I really like you. I know you say you don't want to be a girl. You don't want to have a girlfriend.
You're right. Yeah. No, you're right. I don't want to be a girl. No, I was born a boy. I grew up to be a man. That's what I am. Okay. So I don't want to be a girl. Yeah, you're right.
I know you don't want to be.
This is the type of marriage we have. I always wanted to be with somebody where I could be myself. Like, yeah, in life, physical attraction, there's all it's human nature. But to me too, apart from physical attraction, like you have to have such a down to earth personality. Like I want to be able to just randomly be like, ah, and then she'll be like, ah, like not to sound like like a cornball, but like that's the type of person I am. Like what I mean, like that's the type of silly dude I am, and I've always been like that, And I always tell myself I always want to be with somebody like that. Thing in life, be with somebody you can be yourself around.
That's right.
You don't have to hide. You don't have to put on a facade. You don't have to, pretend. And not just pretend because, everybody else is doing it. You don't have to pretend to please the other person. Like you shouldn't have to please the other person by being somebody you're not.
Exactly.
And yeah, we were supposed to meet the one time, and unfortunately your uncle had passed away.
Yeah, my Uncle Mike had passed away. And so there was this string of deaths that had happened in my family. And so in 2014, my great aunt had passed away. She was 100 years old. And then my uncle had passed away, and this is on my mother's side. And so my mom's oldest brother had passed away.
And that's who I thought of, yeah.
In 2014. And so it was a string of deaths that had happened. And then on my dad's side, my Uncle Mike had passed away a whole year later. And that's when Neil and I were supposed to meet.
Right.
So, I just knew I wanted to move to New York, to be back with family, to be closer to family, because I was completely by myself on the West Coast and I loved being there. But at that point, I'm just like, I missed my family. And my greatest fear was to get the phone call that my grandma had passed away, and I didn't spend time with her. Yeah. And that's what I really wanted, to be able to spend time with her. And I was able to spend her last year of life with her, and I'm like, I feel like it was very kismet. It was very much in God's plan for everything like that to happen.
Yeah, and right there with you.
Yeah, everything that happened just felt like this is exactly how it was supposed to happen.
And for those of you who don't know Melissa's grandmother, like you've never met her or you've never had any type of interaction, despite the fact she was in her 90s, she was a very intelligent woman. Like you would be surprised if you have a conversation with her, she will pick up that conversation and have it right back with you. She's very mindful of her surroundings. She can recall things, and I know naturally in life as we get older, dementia sets in, not for everybody, and memory loss happens and stuff like that, but with her, it's like, up until her last days, right up until her last days, her body itself may have been old, age-wise she was old, but her mind was so young. And she was so funny, she was so down to earth, like
and she loved Neil. She absolutely loved Neil.
Yeah, she loved me. I met her in 2016, and unfortunately, she passed away in 2017. Yeah. Before or after Thanksgiving?
Right after Thanksgiving.
Right after Thanksgiving, yeah. So I met her the year before, and then she passed away. Now, I was there when she passed away. Melissa and I were there. She passed away in her mother's house. What happened was, prior to her falling really sick and with the whole dementia thing, it only was like that for like the last month of her life.
Not even really, because she still was pretty.
Last 2 weeks, I guess.
Yeah, last couple of weeks.
So in her whole 95 years, that particular moment where everything is like life just catches up to you, it caught up to her in her final 2 weeks. But for the 90-something years before that, like mine was sharp.
Yeah.
But that just goes to show you that you can't take life for granted. You're here today, you're gone tomorrow. That's life. What you can do today, don't put it off for tomorrow.
Exactly. So how we ended up being a couple.
You know what we said?
Well, I'll go from my perspective first, and then you can go.
Okay, let me grab my fake notebook. Go ahead.
Okay, so
My fake glasses.
So I was still living in California at that time, and I don't know, we had this brilliant idea to watch the ball drop. I don't know why we.
Well, damn, why did I say it like that?
Well, no, well, because wait, hold on. No, okay, so
Yeah, it's brilliant. I hear like,
we had.
I ain't really with this, but
Well, no,
anyway.
well,
but that's
no.
like where I'm from. Like when you say it like that, it's like, yeah.
Well, okay, so let me. So we have this brilliant idea to go down to Manhattan in Times Square to watch the ball drop. I don't know why we thought, oh, this is perfect. First off, it's cold.
Yeah.
Second off, there's nowhere to go to the bathroom. That was like my biggest concern is where am I going to go to the bathroom?
Yeah, that's true. You got all them people, yeah.
And all the people, and so you're like, do we really want to be there? It's really touristy. We don't want to do the touristy thing.
Yeah. And speaking of touristy, now that you mention it, I'm from New York, and I've never been to the Statue of Liberty. And if you're genuinely from New York, we don't care about going to the Statue of Liberty. So if you see people in the Statue of Liberty, 9 times out of 10 they're tourists. Like, oh, it's such a great attraction. If you ask somebody from Queens, Brooklyn, the Bronx, Manhattan, Harlem, hey, you want to go to the Statue of Liberty? No, I'm good. Like,
okay, so we were supposed, so we decided. I was staying in Harlem with a family friend, and so I was like, okay, why don't we just meet in Harlem and go out to dinner or something?
Right.
And so it was easier for you to come to me than it was for me to come to you. So you came on the train. And in my mind, I'm thinking that I really hope Neil asked me to be his girlfriend. I wasn't expecting anything. I really wanted, because I just wanted to be really exclusive with him. And at that point, I was like, whatever happens, happens. And you can tell the rest.
All right. So prior to that, right, my first New Year's Eve home from the Army was January 1st, 2015. So I went out with some friends. We went bar hopping and stuff like that in Manhattan, and we watched the ball drop. Now, it's not, I don't put my personal business out there like that. Like, if I'm talking to somebody, like, you know what I mean? That's my business. So they assume I had no plans, and they were trying to be on the same type of time like last year. Hey, you trying to go to the city, you trying to go drink, you trying to whatever. So I told my boy, I was like, listen, I actually got plans, like, like, I'm gonna go meet somebody. He's like, you gonna meet somebody? I was like, yeah. He was like, so like, you want to link up after, like with me and me and the crew and all of that? I was like, nah, yeah, go ahead. Like, I'll catch you like next week. We'll go shoot some pool or something. He said, all right. So he called me back as I'm getting ready to head out, and he was like, you sure? I'm like, I'm positive, bro. I was like, nothing can mess up this night. Trust me. Oh my God. And you'll see why I said, oh my God. I get to the train station. You're from Queens, A train, left first, Liberty, right there. So you already know. We get on the A train, everything is going smooth. If you're familiar with the A train and the route, you get to I think it's 80th Street. Like, you go into Manhattan bound, you get to 80th Street, and then you go into the tunnel. And the first stop in the tunnel going to Manhattan is Euclid. So everything is good, right? I text her, I'm on my way. I should be there in such and such time, whatever it was. So just make sure you're ready, and then we'll go out to eat. So along the way, before we get into the tunnel, I'm like, damn, like, I know I don't know her like that, but I kind of like her. Like, I can be myself around her, and she's pretty and everything. So I get into the tunnel in Euclid. It stops, the doors open, we take off. But as soon as we take off, the train stops. So I'm like, oh, what happened? So I thought maybe like they're doing work because it's late night. They're doing construction work. Then the lights go out. I was like, nah, yo, this ain't happening. This ain't happening. So I was like, let me text her. Then I was like, damn, no service. I was like, I can't call, I can't text. And then the announcer comes on, the conductor. Oh, sorry for the delay. There's a power outage and stuff. We may be here for a while. And me and everybody on the train, like, nah, we not about to spend New Year's on the train, like. And I'm supposed to go meet her, and I'm like, wow, like, you potentially about to blow something like serious. You know what I mean? Like the impression that she has of you already. And of course, it's not my fault. It's not like I planned for this to happen. But I was so worried because I can't contact her. And it's not like I can use somebody else's phone next to me because they don't have service just like me. So I'm like, I just got to wait it out. So I was hoping we would be delayed for like 10 minutes. We was actually delayed for like almost a half hour. And that was going to set my plans back because I had everything planned in my head, like, you know, accordingly. So by the time it hits midnight and stuff like that. So I finally get to Harlem. 125th Street, St. Nick. I woke upstairs, my service come back on. Missed call, text messages, rightfully so. I'm not tripping because if the shoe was on the foot and the girl was like, you know, yeah, I'll come link up with you, and I would feel like I was getting played. I'm like, damn, so much time passed. So I'm not mad, you know, all the phone calls and the voicemails and stuff like that. So I finally called her and I explained what happened, and she understood. She didn't like say, you know, oh, you ain't gotta lie. You ain't gotta lie, Craig. You ain't got to lie, Craig. Like, she wasn't like on that type of time. Yeah, so finally meet up after all the craziness that happened in the train station. It was cutting real close to midnight. So we still went to the soul food spot. It was a good spot. I forgot the name of it. Like, it wasn't too far from where you were staying.
No, it wasn't.
And then we left the soul food spot and we're walking, and I forgot what street we were walking down. And I was like, hold on real quick. And this is some corny, cheesy this stuff right there. I grabbed her hand. I was like, hold on real quick. And I got down to act like I was tying my shoelace, and my shoelace wasn't even like undone. It was fine. So I got down, and then I guess she looked away, and then I grabbed her hand, and I was like, will you be my girl? So I know it's kind of cheesy, but you know, like, you know.
It was so cute.
Yeah, and then she looked at me and she was like, well, let me think about it. Now she said yes, and then she, happy tears came out.
Yeah.
You remember when we hugged and we kissed each other? Oh my God. So we hugged and we kissed each other, right? Now we're official. And there was a dude and his girl.
That was another time.
That was another time?
That was another time.
Oh, all right, we can play it.
That was another time.
Yeah, we can figure it out. So yeah, so that was the moment.
And that was us springing and New Year's together in 2016. So we officially is December 31st, 2015, going into midnight.
That's right.
2016.
So this year, December 31st is gonna make 9 years. Next year is 10 years.
Yeah.
Definitely have to take a trip, like,
oh yeah, something
double-digit year come. Like,
oh yeah. So.
And we've been married for
3 years.
Yeah.
3 years. We moved in together.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So after we got together, and I ended up obviously moving back to the East Coast. We ended up moving in together in 2017, and then in Newark, New Jersey, and then we got engaged June 2019, and we were supposed to get married September 18th, 2020, but you know, pandemic. New York was on lockdown. Jersey was also on lockdown.
Yeah. So
we postponed our wedding until May of 2021. And a birth out of the pandemic was Cali Meets NYC. So
yeah. And to the ones who would hit me up and say, how come I didn't get an invite? It's nothing personal. It's just that with the whole pandemic situation, and it's still like on the rise, our numbers got cut significantly.
Oh yeah, we had, I think we ended up having about 60 people.
About 60 people, yeah. 60
people at our wedding, and so it felt like a safe number for us, and so you know that it is you know at the end of the day it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean,
and now if you saw our moving from Jersey to Florida vibe, if you saw our moving from Jersey to Florida vlog, you would know that we lived in Newark, New Jersey, and we made our way down to South Florida, and here we are in our happy home together. So,
would you love me if more grays came in?
Yes.
Would you love me if I was bald?
Yes.
You love me if I was bald?
Yes.
Okay. You're not gonna say like, oh, you're already bald?
I mean, if you've seen our wedding photos, you would know.
But I'm just saying, like, what if 2 days from now I wake up and I used to have the wavy hair I used to have back in the day? You wouldn't be like, nah, it's not the same. You gotta be bald again. Like, or would you be happy I had hair again?
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. Okay, let us know if you want to see more videos with the two of us, so we can pull Neil back onto the screen.
Yeah. Shout out to everybody who supported my wife's business, purchased her products and stuff like that. You know, I tell her, if you feel like you're not going anywhere but you're still in business, you're making progress, because you have a lot of people who become independent business owners and they go out of business not even in the first year. Mm-hmm. And here she is, this woman has been doing it over 3 years now. And I tell her, you know, don't worry, the warehouse will come, the business will boom, the money will come, the product line will increase. Don't worry about it. Mm-hmm. The important thing is you're independent. You don't have to answer to nobody. You're a one-woman show. Mm-hmm. And I do help her with stuff like trade shows and pop-up events. Mm-hmm. So I'll help her do all the physical stuff, like load the car, go with her, be there with her, help her with the sales and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But as far as the admin stuff and like her talent and skills, like that's all her, like, you know. And I see her putting in a lot of work, like almost 24 hours a day. And if you're married and you're a business owner, you work from home, or you're solely focused on your business, make sure you take time to spend with your significant other, because that can really have a real effect on a marriage.
Oh yeah.
So I'm not saying you know you have to like completely just give up and like go and be with the person. No, I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is just like you, whether you're a man or a woman, you and your significant other, your spouse, your boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever it may be, make sure you guys set up like a date night or like a time to like watch a show or like go out or like spend time together. Just even like lay up with each other. Like just make sure, because at the end of the day, like, you know, you gotta be happy with what you're doing business wise, and you gotta be happy with who you with. So.
Exactly, and we definitely make time for that. So even though I work a lot, I do make sure that, you know, I push my way off of the laptop. And, you know, we spend time together and we watch our shows and we watch movies. We're big on, you know, chilling and watching movies. We're foodies, so we're going to go out to eat in a few minutes. But I did want to mention a couple of things. So if you notice the music that is playing in the intro and outro, he is the producer. He's the producer. So he didn't pick the music. He made the music.
Yeah, well,
so,
yeah, sample, yeah.
Still
yeah. So that's the thing. Like, I'm not just a producer with sampling. Like, I make music from scratch. Like, I'm a beat maker at the end of the day too. If you go onto my social media platforms, which she'll post.
Yeah, so it'll be
see, like, down here maybe, but
it'll be in the description below. You'll see all of Neil's information. Mm-hmm. He also just released a new album. It's called SOLIDIFIED Champions with his friends. With I'll insert. So I'll insert the cover here or here somewhere on the screen. You'll see the cover, and then it's SOLIDIFIED Champions with his friend Tyrone and
Tyrone GBR. Shout out, man.
Tyrone GBR, and so they both have been working tirelessly on this album, and I'm so proud of both of them, especially my husband. We are both working very hard on things that we love to do.
Exactly. She'll also post a link to the album, and if you like what you hear on my social media page and you would like to purchase the album, feel free to click the link. It's only $10.
Editing Melissa here. So we forgot to close out the video. If you like more videos like this, make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. And until next time, Bye, you guys. Yeah.
What, you cursed on camera before?
I don't think so.
What you mean you don't want to buy my candles? You don't love me? Huh? You ain't got no love?